Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. We're moving on. It is exactly 9:37 a.m. and I'm afraid we're not moving on with good news at all. I hope and pray that Executive Director of Agri SA, Christo van der Rheede, can allay my fears. We're talking about possible food security issues here in South Africa. Recently, a CEO of a large retail food outlet, PnP to be precise, has suggested that food shortages in South Africa is not so far-fetched. I've been to the supermarket over the past few days and I was quite shocked when I saw the prices of fruit and vegetables. I couldn't believe it. It just seems to have skyrocketed overnight. And I kind of thought, okay, just maybe winter is around the corner and maybe that's the reason why we're sitting in this space. Maybe I've got it all wrong. I also understand that onion prices have gone through the roof. So let's talk to the experts. And that, of course, is you, Executive Director of Agri SA. You're also an agriculturist, Christo van der Rheede. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Is this cause for grave concern?
Good morning to you and morning to all of your viewers as well as your listeners. I want to perhaps first give us the good news. Right, South Africa remains a food secure country at the national level. We've seen a very good summer grain season. I think in the region of more than 15 million tons of grains that been harvested. So that is in itself good news. So we've got enough for domestic use and also a lot for export use. The same with our soya production. It went quite well. Harvest went well. And we know that there's also a very good wheat season, and our farmers intend to plant even more wheat. But what is the big problem? There's a number of factors that impacts on food availability as well as food inflation. We've seen very funny rains and it's almost unseasonal rains in the north that has impacted on our tomato production, our onion production, and that has impacted negatively on the levels of produce that we used to. And that obviously has led to a shortage on the shelves. And we all know when there's a shortage on the shelves, it leads to price increases. But then there's also another big challenge. Many of our retailers experiencing load shedding, and currently we're experiencing load shedding level 6. That means they cannot stock a lot of meat. So farmers get a very low price for their cattle and for their sheep, which they want to send to the feedlots, send to the abattoirs to be slaughtered. But the abattoirs and the feedlots refuse to take in a lot of products because at the moment they slaughter it, they need refrigeration capacity. And they are fully stocked at this point in time because they cannot send their meat to the retailers. The retailer says, no, hold on. We struggle with refrigeration capacity. Our cold storage facilities are being compromised. We've got long levels of load shedding or long periods of load shedding level 6. And we cannot guarantee the freshness of the produce that we ultimately sell to the consumer. So it's a toxic
Christo,
mix.
yeah, we're in a catch-22 situation here, aren't we? And it all goes, it sits at the doorstep of the Lords of Darkness, Eskom. They have created, I'm so angry when I think about it. Thank God you and I can still manage to put food on the table. But what about all the poor people? What about the job losses? What about the farmers that are sitting with the situation that you're talking about regarding the livestock? We are in a dire situation, are we not?
Yeah, indeed. And remember, a minister of electricity was appointed. What we don't realize is that the Minister of Electricity has no constitutional mandate or legislative framework on which he can base his decisions and execute it. So he depends on the goodwill of the Minister of Energy on the one side and the Minister of Public Enterprises. And we've learned just recently about the turf war between all of these ministers. And where's the president in all of this? President has centralized the Minister of Electricity's job within the presidency, and he's also appointed NECOM to oversee all of these initiatives. I've just read this morning they're opening up another bid window for more private sector suppliers to come on board. But we still sit with a lot of legislation that impacts negatively on the private sector's ability to bring more power to the grid. And secondly, we sit with a shortage of transmission capacity. So Eskom we can build solar plants, as much as we can, but if you cannot transmit that electricity that's being produced to the consumer at the end of the day, then it serves no purpose. And that's the problem that we face. And that's the problem that was also highlighted by Mr. Jan Oberholzer, the COO, that we don't have enough capacity on our transmission lines. So we need to address these issues. And we've been talking about this now for years. The President Ramaphosa has been appointed as the war room overseer at one stage when he was the deputy president, and we all thought, right, now things are going to happen. But it seems to me it's just getting worse by the minute.
Coming back to the issue around food security or insecurity, we know that the price of onions has gone through the roof and other fresh produce as well. I mean, I was quite shocked when I saw the price of potatoes is sitting above 100 Rand, a 7 kg bag. You ask that all-important question, how are the poor people going to be able to survive? Where to from here? Where to from here regarding these issues? And does this then also suggests that farmers are going to give up and walk away? Whether they livestock farmers, whether they dairy farmers, whether they, fresh produce farmers, where do we sit? Because that is the all important question. And then, of course, us as consumers, we are paying that much more for a food basket at the end of the month, are we not?
Indeed, we've seen the price of a food basket, with ordinary goods has just gone up tremendously over the past 12 months. And that impacts on the livelihood of people. And that, for me, is the bigger concern, because it's no use. You've got the economy going, but people do not or are excluded on the basis of their inability to access the opportunities or their ability to enjoy the fruits of that economy. And that can lead to social unrest. It can lead to even civil war in any country. We've seen how these things play out in different parts of the African continent.
Absolutely.
And that's the last thing that we can afford. So remember, farmers don't produce food to eat it themselves. They produce food, for the people of this country and to export. And yes, they want to make a bit of profit so that they can reinvest that profit back into their businesses. And the profits in agriculture is marginal. If I take a bit of money, if I must choose between buying a farm or invest the money in other, assets such as shares and crypto property, I'd rather go for those softer options because it's going to give me a much bigger return. So farmers are special people. They are people that are prepared to live on the land, to sacrifice day in and day out. And I've never seen a real farmer driving around with a flashy Mercedes-Benz and living a flashy life. They live ordinary lives because they know tomorrow there will be a drought, or tomorrow there will be an outbreak of a biosecurity threat, and then they need money to survive during that type of turmoil. And that's why I always say it's not land that produces food, it's expertise. And we need to protect that expertise. We see how the EU, as well as the United States, Brazil, China, all of them provide big support to their farmers. But on the other hand, we cannot now go sit back and say, oh my goodness, things are going the wrong way. So we are making plans. As I said here, we do have a big discussion on, how we can work together with other sectors to solve this big crisis ourselves. And that's what communities need to do. It's no use you cry about the police, not doing their job. I think communities must come together, and we must fill the potholes. We must fix, the water systems. We must, find ways of generating our own electricity, and we need to keep our economy going. And we must invest in schools, invest in the religious upbringing of our people, so that we again restore the ethics in our community. Because to believe that the politicians will bring their solution and will improve our lives, that is going to be a long way.
Okay, I want to end this interview. My final question to you is on a positive note. Um, where to from here regarding food inflation, food security for us here in South Africa?
I think the important thing is we need to address the issues of energy cost and energy availability. Remember, the entire agricultural value chain, right up to the retail floor, depends on electricity because, as a sophisticated commercial agriculture sector, you rely on your cold storage linkages, your facilities, etc., to export and to provide the best food available to our people. And it means we have to become much more self-reliant. We will have to find ways and means to take care of ourselves, and that's what we are currently doing. Yes, engage with the ESCOM is important. Putting pressure on government is important, but don't despair. I think the agriculture sector, together with other economic sectors, do have the wisdom, do have the expertise to help solving this crisis.
Please, God, watch over us, watch over South Africa. Christo van der Rede, Executive Director of Agri SA and Agriculturist, talking to us about food security in South Africa. Thank you indeed for your expertise. And yeah, we all pray that things will improve. That's all we can do, can't we? Pray and hope. So thank you for your time.
Pleasure, man.
It is exactly 9:15 news and views right here on Salam Media. And I think we're going to now be talking with Dr. Sifiso Falala. He is the founder of Build RSA and also the CEO of Priority Performance Projects. Hopefully, he's going to bring some good news to us this Monday morning.